Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief is trash. Hear me out, hear me out. I read all the Percy Jackson books as a kid. I read the original 5, and then I read the Heroes of Olympus series, and even some Kane Chronicles. So I'm a big fan of Rick Riordan when I say this, you know. And everyone's seen the original movies. They weren't good, and so we expected this Disney show, which he played a part in, to really stand out, you know. And a part of this struggle with me and Percy Jackson is just that there's just no stakes. There's no stakes, and there's no tension in the show. And it feels bad, man. I mean, I love Percy Jackson, right? When you're watching a show with 12-year-olds and they're talking about Greek gods, and then they show you Greek gods that don't do anything, it's kind of frustrating. Anyway, another big issue that we've all realized is the CGI. The CGI looks terrible, and even if it's just riptide, like Percy's pen turning into a sword, like nothing looks great. Obviously, I didn't think the underworld was gonna look good, and clearly it didn't. It looked like there's just a huge green screen. It probably was, but I think there's like an article I read where each episode costs about 12 to 15 million per episode, and that's a crazy amount. But it doesn't look like that to me, man. Yeah, like I think everyone obviously realizes CGI is bad. A lot of people have been saying maybe it should have just been an animated show, and part of me agrees. I think definitely this was an animation. You could pull off way more crazy feats and get away with some stuff. But I feel like it's also a lazy take. You know how much shows we could just say, oh, if it was animated, it'd look better. No, like, pay VFX artists what they deserve and give them the time they need to work on their craft. Like, these VFX artists are overworked and they need time to really perfect their CGI. And if you said, oh, Game of Thrones should be animated just because there's a dragon scene, you know, and I get it, HBO's throwing $1 billion at a project, but if Disney's throwing like 12 million per episode, the show can look great. It just doesn't, and that's one of the major issues. It just looks so bad. Like, I think they had a Fury in this, one of the Furies, and they just look terrible. And a lot of scenes in this show just feel a little worse than the ones in the movie. Like the Medusa scene just feels a lot less threatening in this one versus the movie. And even like the casino scene, I think that was like a nail in the heart for me, because it just did not have the same effect. Grover's playing with VRs in this episode, and it's a very like Gen X type of thing. Which is fine, but you know, why are we having Grover play VRs on in the Lotus Casino? And I think Hermes as a character, as a god, is kind of weird, because we know his relationship with Luke in this show is kind of strange, which causes Luke to go down his path. But I don't know. I felt like it was just a weird, like a lot of scenes are just weird in this episode, in this show. Yeah. Another big thing for me was the world building, man. Like, I get it. If you have like this, you're adapting a book series into a show, and that's gonna take time to really explain and dump all this stuff. Because Percy doesn't know anything, so we don't know anything. So we kind of follow Percy on this path of knowledge in the Greek god world, and this stuff can be tricky. Like, you only have, I think it was about 10 episodes, and to really get to where you needed to be without making these weird jumps with Percy and us, is you have to explain, but also not like just dump information, and that's tricky. And I do give them, they had their work cut out for them with that. But maybe, I don't know if you need a few more episodes, but I don't know if I wanted more episodes. So it's tricky. I just feel like the world building was definitely off. Like, Percy goes from knowing really nothing, and I felt like in one episode jump he knew about Kronos' plan. He's telling Zeus what to do, all this stuff, and he knows more than Zeus about whatever's going on. And like 2 episodes before, he didn't know anything. So that's the stuff, and I get it. They had to make that jump between Percy being ignorant about everything to knowing something. So, but I don't know. I feel like that jump felt a little fast for me, and that's a problem with one of the big problems with the show. Overall, Percy Jackson Lightning Thief isn't a terrible show. It's not, I mean, I kind of said it's trash, but like, I can see it for like my niece and nephew liking this show, and they're young. But like the people who originally read Percy Jackson, they realistically grew up now, and I don't know if it's just like a nostalgia thing, but I love the books, and I remember begging for good movies to come out, and the movies were good. And now when it's show and we have the show, and it just feels. I was really excited for the show, man. Really excited, but it just doesn't have that impact on me. It just like I binged it because I wanted to cover it, because I want to talk about it, and I hope it gets better in season 2. Even though I think at the time of recording they didn't get announced for a season 2 yet. I think they will, but it is like I will say it is faithful to the book though. Some scenes are different, but it is pretty faithful, so I appreciate that. Do I think it's the worst show? No. I just think some stuff can be worked on, and interactions can be worked on. How Feist is talking to Annabeth and just letting her free just because she likes Percy, or I don't know. The whole thing is just weird, and I think the show is a little. I guess the universe is just a little too forgiving for me, and I think in season 2 they'll start to really work on that. But I don't hate it. I'll check out season 2 if it's out. It's alright. It just lacks that extra oomph to put it over the edge for me to really call it like a great show. You know, it's okay. It's fine. It's palatable, but nothing really crazy for me. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. It's alright. Take care, guys.